believe we know what's best for us, and we're often right. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that we always act in our best interests. Sometimes we say or do or think things that actively prevent us from reaching our goals or achieving our potential. So some of us might recognize this behavior as self-sabotaging. We all know what sabotage means. It means deliberately hindering or damaging something. So I'll be going over some self-sabotaging examples and talk about some solutions. Here's the first self-sabotaging scenario. Say that 3 times. See if it reminds us of anyone we know. And it could be us. It's called the chronic canceller. This person regularly backs out of plans at the last moment. A person agrees to grab dinner with their friends, but bails out an hour before by texting, "Not feeling up to it tonight, maybe next time." And the friends know that this is not the first time they're doing this. It's almost every time they make plans together. Self-sabotage can be considered acts carried out often unconsciously or habitual, which usually keep our lives small and safe, but our place in relationships can be diminished and powerless. Self-sabotage means anything that limits our ability to be happy in life and grow. So here's another example called the constant competitor. Always trying to one-up their friends' achievements or experiences. When a friend shares excitement about their promotion, do we immediately respond, "That's cool. Wait till you hear about the amazing opportunity I just got. It's way better." So that happened to me. So self-sabotage is a trending phrase. Psychologists use it to describe the actions we choose to take, which basically trips us up. Has this example ever happened to you in life? When we know we have a work deadline, but somehow we still procrastinate. Instead of working on this project, we decide to watch TV and eat chocolate ice cream. This just puts us feeling worse about ourselves. We can think of examples in our lives where we self-sabotage. Who wins when we self-sabotage ourselves? But let's be honest. The world can dazzle, distract, fill our minds and hearts too easily. It takes an act of will not to let that happen. To refuse to indulge in our hobbies and interests. That is the reason why we self-sabotage. And some people do this their whole life long. We can easily fall into the trap of thinking that our desires are somehow inherently good. So here's another example. If our relationship is starting to feel like a straitjacket, limiting us in ways that feel uncomfortable and unhealthy, there is something wrong. When we begin to realize that we prefer to avoid our friends more and more because we feel so uncomfortable and unhealthy. There is something wrong. When we begin to realize that we prefer to avoid our friends more and more because we feel so uncomfortable, it is really the time to do something for ourselves. Doing nothing about this kind of dynamic is a form of self-sabotage. We are not powerless. It is our responsibility, just like when we recite the seventh principle. We make our own happiness or unhappiness. When we know that we are not feeling respected by another person, to stop them in their tracks and communicate clearly to them that what our needs are. And by the way, that doesn't mean they will give us what we want. But if we do not ask for what we need, we will know this will not go right in this relationship. They won't know what should be happening, because if they did know, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And clearly, they don't know. So communication is key. A healthy and happy relationship between friends allows each person to be fully themselves, with plenty of space and time to communicate with each other. Each person's thoughts, feelings, and needs are held equally important. Another example of self-sabotage is the emotional vampire. Always expecting constant support, but never getting it back. A friend may call daily to unload their problems, but never ask how we are doing. When we try to share our struggles, the friend quickly redirects the conversation back to them. Have you heard of anyone doing this?
Really?
When life is about to get good, just when we're about to get a promotion or a great job or get an opportunity that we have been longing for, out of nowhere, sometimes we do something that is not smart. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, what a minute? What just happened? The job was there, and then it wasn't. And that's called self-sabotage. It's getting in our own way. It's our pattern. Do we ever look back and think, if you give me a minute, I can make the situation worse? Self-sabotaging tendencies in our life are like a pattern of behavior that gets in the way of our goals, of our dreams, and of our progress. A pattern that it just seems to show up again and again and again. It's really us getting in our own way as we try to move through life, noticing the same thing over and over again. That thing could be something like procrastination. Our own thinking and our own words can sabotage our life and family. So one purpose for this sermon is to help provide examples of self-sabotage in relationships and with ourselves, so we can try to recognize and provide a way out with new behaviors to try and practices, so that we do not keep repeating our bad habits. So we ask, are we sabotaging ourselves? Probably, sometimes. So here are some examples to help recognize self-sabotage. Do we allow our friend or coworker to interrupt us when we are talking and making a point? If we think these emotional blows that are preserving the relationship, we may want to ask ourselves, what about this do we really want to preserve? We may be self-sabotaging. We may want to consider creating a list of common ways that people self-sabotage and ask ourselves whether any of them might apply to us. Ask ourselves these questions and honestly answer them. Do we take the blame for everything that goes wrong in our relationships? We might be self-sabotaging. Do we find ourselves listening to and endorsing supposedly rational sounding reasons why our life is small, unhappy, unfulfilling? And as a result, we feel powerless, disconnected, lost, and alone. We may be self-sabotaging. Do we think our small life is the price we have to pay for misdeeds from our past? We might be self-sabotaging. Do we keep making wishes with goals that we would like to accomplish, and the same goals keep getting tossed to the bottom each time we look at it? We might be self-sabotaging. Do we let another person's opinion of us become more real or important than our own? We might be self-sabotaging. Do we allow someone to compare us to someone else's physical attributes, achievements, etc.? We might be self-sabotaging. So how do we reverse self-sabotaging? Our own actions and words. In other words, how do we reverse the curse? I like that, reverse the curse, something to rock. A study by researchers at Indiana University reported in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology counterintuitive results. So they said early birds, people who get up early in the morning, self-sabotage more in the morning. And night owls, those that stay up late to get work done, self-sabotage more at night. That means they undermine their performances, not when they're tired, but when they're at their peak energy. Meaning it takes a lot of energy to continue to self-sabotage. And it leads to making wrong or not the best decisions. Self-sabotage can seem completely irrational and self-destructive, but this is rarely the case. We will almost always find something that our self-sabotage is fulfilling. Once we understand the positive aspects of the sabotage, we are able to find alternative ways to fill that need. For example, Quitting smoking. Lots of people want to quit smoking for their health. They know that it's not good for them, and they are often frustrated that they do not seem to able to stop. They might use nicotine patches to deal with the physical addiction, but they still struggle with giving up cigarettes. This is because they are not addressing the other things cigarettes are giving them. The first step is self-awareness. Recognizing when we're getting in our own way. Recognizing self-sabotage requires brutal honesty with ourselves. Admitting that the reason we missed that deadline or skipped that workout was not because of time or energy, but because of an underlying fear of not being enough. Identifying the beliefs driving these behaviors, like fear or failure or feelings of unworthiness. The sooner we notice we are getting in our own way, the easier it is to change what we are doing. Paying attention to our thoughts and our actions can help us to notice when we are about to self-sabotage. From there, challenging those beliefs through affirmations or journaling can help us create new paths. So to help us realize the specifics of our self-sabotaging, maybe we can make a list of areas we can improve. Like, how have we been self-sabotaging lately? Our list may be something like being consistently late, or not appreciating our friends and family, or procrastination. Then consider making a list of solutions to avoid self-sabotage. Push ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone, even if it's just one small step at a time. So our solutions list may be something like this. Paying attention to those last three, we can start our day 15 minutes earlier. So at work, one manager made us attend the meeting 15 minutes before it started, or they considered us late. So that might be something we can try to do. A second solution of not paying our loved ones attention, maybe we can tell them that we love them and appreciate them more often. And for procrastination, a solution could be taking our to-do list more seriously. And if we do not finish our entire solutions list, do not be disappointed. If one or two are completed, praise ourselves. Trying to suppress negative self-talk does not work well. Instead, when we catch ourselves having negative thoughts, try saying to ourselves, that was not kind or fair. We are only thinking this way out of habit. But we noticed it is time, and this is a good step in the right direction. So pat ourselves on the back and say, good job. Small actions can make a difference. setting realistic goals, celebrating small wins, and practicing self-compassion can gradually replace self-sabotaging behaviors with healthier habits. Surrounding ourselves with supportive people who can remind us of our strengths also makes it easier to stay on track. So spot the inner saboteur next time we procrastinate. Pause and ask, what are we really afraid of if this works out? Shine light on the fear and it loses power. Don't ask, what if we fail? Ask, what will we learn even if we stumble? We might want to work on our self-compassion and self-soothing. To improve our self-compassion, we could try to think of something we appreciate about ourselves. Do this every day, giving ourselves compliments. And we need to believe those compliments about ourselves. So let's remember this, to reverse the curse. Reverse the curse of self-sabotage. Because here's the truth. We deserve success. And the only thing really standing in our way is us. Amen.
Amen.